few players in world football divide opinion, like Lukaku. On one hand, he's got more career goals than players like Drogba. He's Belgium's all-time leading scorer. But on the other hand, he's capable of missing scoring chances in the most tremendous ways. First, let me say, all strikers miss chances, so I'm not criticizing Lukaku like he's the only one to do it. However, look at the misses on screen now. You'd never think they're coming from a player that will finish his career with around 500 goals. Looking at his career appearances and goals, he's been pretty prolific everywhere he's played, apart from maybe Chelsea, but numbers don't always tell the whole story. How can a player score a goal like this, but then produce a touch like this one or an attempt at goal like this? It's almost like two different players. Lukaku has been blessed with great physical tools, and we've seen his strength and speed on display throughout his career. Where I think he really lacks is the mental and emotional part of the game. It's not a coincidence that the two best periods in his career were at clubs where 1, expectations were at high, and 2, where he was loved by the fans. Initially signing on loan at Everton in 2013, he made the deal permanent the following season as he wasn't in Chelsea's plans. At the time, the signing was seen as a coup, and his goals would propel Everton to the Europa League knockout stages in 2015. In 2017, he would get a move to another massive club, Manchester United. Looking at his stats in the Premier League by the age of 25, Lukaku was in great company, spoken about with the likes of Rooney, Fowler, Kane, and Owen. But just like his time at Chelsea, his 2 years at United would be seen as a failure. This is where the mental side comes in. Lukaku wasn't able to replicate his previous form, and the pressure of playing for United seemed to be too much. He was benched in favor of a young Rashford through the middle. Soon the fans would start questioning Lukaku's ability and commitment after he was deemed overweight to play. He was shipped off to Inter Milan in the summer of 2019 for around 80 million euros. In hindsight, this was the greatest thing that could have happened to Lukaku. He slimmed down in Italy and started showing why the club spent so much on him. Scoring 23 and 24 league goals in his first 2 seasons in Milan, he would lead Inter to their first league title in a decade and was named Player of the Year. Everything was going great for Lukaku, in the form of his life, beloved by the fans and winning trophies. What he didn't know is, his life and career would start to unravel from here. In 2021, Lukaku would move back to the club he said he supported as a boy, Chelsea, in a deal worth £97.5 million. The kind of money you spend on an elite striker in world football. And at that time, Lukaku was seen as just that. Unfortunately, the grass isn't always greener, and Lukaku found that out the hard way. His second spell at Chelsea would start well, taking just 15 minutes to score in the opening game of the season. That would be as good as it would get, though. Only 26 appearances and 8 goals that season. Word started to spread that Lukaku didn't like his coach Thomas Tuchel, and that he would openly question the coach's tactics, even going to ownership to complain. The final nail in the coffin for Lukaku at Chelsea was an unauthorized interview he did, once again questioning the manager and admitting he missed Inter and never should have left. This is the emotional component to this story. Instead of fighting for your place in the team, wanting to be at the club you love and support, Lukaku's emotions got the best of him, and he forced his way back to Italy in an unprofessional manner. His last season at Inter in 2022 didn't go as planned. He was injured and only managed 10 league goals. Inter were still keen to bring the Belgian back for a second stint at the club. After Inter reached an agreement with Chelsea for $35 million, they were anxious to wrap the deal up and get Lukaku available for preseason. The only thing that was necessary was the go-ahead from the player. Then he could sign his new deal and join Inter on a permanent basis for the 2023 season. But to everyone's shock, Lukaku was suddenly unreachable. When Inter did finally reach Lukaku, they learned that he had been negotiating with rivals Juventus and AC Milan. It's only natural that a player will keep their options open in the transfer market, and transfers between Italy's biggest clubs are hardly unheard of despite the rivalries that exist. However, what really enraged Inter was the fact that Lukaku and his representatives had hidden the extent of the negotiations with Juventus from them. The Bianconeri had reportedly been working to lure Lukaku to Turin for months, and the Belgian always showed a certain willingness to hear them out. From Inter's perspective, Lukaku had completely broken their trust by going behind their back and deceiving them. There were some attempts by the striker to reconcile, but these came to nothing. Before long, Inter's ownership, squad, and most importantly fans wanted nothing to do with the Belgian. From being loved to being hated by two fan bases in 3 years, Lukaku was once again looking for a new club. That club would be Roma, where he would be reunited with Mourinho for the third time. 29 appearances and 11 goals later at the time of recording, have we seen the last of Lukaku as a proven goal scorer? Is he at fault for how the last few years have unfolded, or is a victim of circumstance? How would you rate his career? Leave a comment on the video and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you on the next one.